Welcome to our latest adventure at Kings Canyon. It's full of beautiful views and nature, but there's a twist. Thanks to a quirky camera glitch, and maybe a small dash of user error, this journey through one of nature's masterpieces is captured almost entirely in slow motion. So sit back and enjoy an unusually serene and dreamy tour of towering cliffs, winding roads, and breathtaking vistas as we explore Kings Canyon like you've never seen it before. But before we set off, let's take a look at how the night at Sunset Campground went.
So I decided to take a break from work, and this is the view I have from my office right now, way up high at Sunset Campground in Kings Canyon in the Sierra Nevada. And there's this fire on some mountain out there. Ranger said there was lots of lightning strikes between here and Fresno and maybe road closures. But I've been watching in very short order. That fire came up and over the mountain from the right side, and it flows like lava. If you really just watch it, you can see it move. I'm thinking, or if you time-lapsed it, but I'm hand-holding a camera I don't usually use. But I really wish that I could have captured the whole thing, but I'm having to do office work and I have to prioritize that. That's an unfortunate missed opportunity, kind of, but I at least wanted to share this, and maybe I'll check in periodically. That might be a good compromise, but it's kind of freaky. It's strange to see the things you only usually hear about on the news happening at hopefully a small scale. It seems like a small scale thing and not like a full-blown emergency, but I wonder how far away that is from here. I have no idea. You can see the lights of cities in the background too. Wonder if that's like the outskirts of Fresno. Anyway, I know this is strange. I opened with deer, and now we're jumping to this. You had no idea what you were going to get in this episode.
Ain't that the truth? So after a night's sleep, we set out for Kings Canyon proper. All right, we're making our final approach to whatever lays ahead. Alrighty. Once again, nobody is awake. It's 6:30. I've been up for almost an hour, more than an hour, finagling with just getting things ready. I got most of my equipment ready last night, but it was getting late, so I had to stop and leave a couple things undone to get some sleep. And now we're set. And I'm hoping the early morning departure here in Kings Canyon has its payoffs. Even though there are campgrounds, I don't know the status if they've opened yet. They were iffy on whether they'd be open. So there could be a lot of folks down there. But Kings Canyon is, out of Kings Canyon and Sequoia, if you didn't know this, Kings Canyon is the lesser popular of the two and lesser crowded by far, I hear. I have not yet experienced Sequoia, like the congested parts. I was going to do that this morning, but had to change my plan, so now I'm going to try to hit that up really early tomorrow morning before we leave here. This is my last night here. I'm camping here tonight, then we're packing it up early tomorrow morning. I'll probably be out the door and gone by this time, 6:30, if I get up on time like I have been, and pack up and do good preparation tonight. And then we'll head over to Sequoia, spend like a good morning there, and then we'll probably hit the road to our next campground, which is in a different national forest. Our next national forest, the Sierra National Forest. I could really use a coffee or... yes. Coffee is necessary, and the Grant Grove Village served as a hub for a few dinners and lunches near Sunset Campground.
Everything was good that I ate, but sadly no coffee this morning as they weren't open yet.
Oh well, I'll have to wait for flavor. I have lots of water. I've been drinking lots of water non-stop. And I'm ready for some Flava Town in the form of hot, caffeinated, and delicious. I can make my own coffee. I think I have everything on board to do so. So maybe we'll make our own cup of coffee down in Kings Canyon once we get there by the riverside. There's a river down there. Cold river they say you shouldn't swim in. But I ain't going swimming either. Alright, so basically we're taking this Route 180 that goes down into Kings Canyon, and then it dead ends basically because there's nowhere else you can go eventually. I don't know if it's like an hour drive or something like that. We're gonna descend really steep canyon walls. There should be overlooks galore and even a couple waterfalls on the way to the end down there. So I just want a casual, fun, relaxing morning with you, and I hope that's what you're in the mood for. But really it's kind of a loose plan. It's just my first time checking it out and seeing what it's all about. If you saw our video that we made up here in this area where we went to the Grant tree, which is the turn for that's right up here, and then I was doing some dirt roading back up here in the Sequoia National Forest, which we should be entering promptly. Saw the Chicago Stump, the Stump Meadow, and really cool back there. We're right around that area. That's not too far from where I'm camping, and that's as far as we ventured. So, well, the furthest I ventured personally so far as I've gone past down to Hume Lake and back to Sunset, did a loop, but that's not going into the canyon. So I've not even really seen a proper view yet here. So this is nice because I was trying to keep my experience as spoiler free as possible for myself, you know, get better reactions maybe, as well as for you guys on this video. And I think I was successful. I mean, I caught a couple views, but it was so hazy I couldn't see much at all. And I'm pleased because it looks a little clearer this morning. And I saw a fire crews hanging out where we just were, so maybe they're getting ready to head out to their prescribed burns. Seems to get really bad in the afternoon, so that's why I opted and shifted things around, because if it is bad, I figure going into Sequoia even in the afternoon or something, because you're inside the trees, what I want to see there is mostly trees and tree related stuff. That's a little easier to film. The smoky overcast layers above don't affect that as much. In fact, I noticed it created kind of a weird light filter in the late afternoon that was kind of pleasant. It made it look like it was later than it actually was. My game plan essentially is just drive. We'll stop at some overlooks. I already see one. Kind of a view we saw probably from the truck when I was dirt roading back this way. Alright, as soon as I said, oh, I'll just let the camera on top roll for a bit and not talk, I see an opening here. And I see haze, so yeah, It's probably going to be a hazy one, but I can see the outline of mountains for sure. So it's better. It's way better than what it was yesterday, but I wanted to take it while I can get it, because I really much... The ranger I talked to made me think that this is probably going to be the way it is, because they're continuing their prescribed burns down here. But I do see like God rays coming from the clouds, the sun, and yeah, now the everything's opening up here. We'll find a overlook here. I don't want to disturb other people, but there's plenty of opportunities like right here. And so the descent into Kings Canyon continued, with stop after stop after stop, each providing a slightly different angle or panoramic view as the sun rose over the hills. All right, let's do it. Let's continue our tour as I eat my granola bar. See, there's another spot right here. I mean, each one does offer a little bit better view. In fact, this one, I think, well, it looks good from the car, but then there's all this, you know, tree cover here. It's not that much different of an angle. I guess you could see though. I'm gonna try this one on for size. We'll try a couple different ones on for size, see what we think. Because I guess you do get just enough of a different angle that it looks kind of cool from here. I kind of like this view, from what I can tell. Let's go see it. It's interesting observing the lighting with the haze and stuff. I don't think I would notice the subtleties usually with what happens with the sun and the smoke getting in front of the sun, and it's thick, now it's not as thick. You notice it a lot more with the cameras, especially when I'm looking through the little displays and stuff and seeing what the camera sees. So it goes from being tolerable to very hard to see very quickly. Now, part of me is wanting to make a small bet with myself, so thinking that making kind of more of a direct route to get to ground level is gonna produce better results, because we get on ground, looking at waterfalls and stuff. I'm hoping the smoke doesn't really matter as much there, but we'll see. There's an official National Forest Vista Point at Junction View here. I can do this. I don't like these blind corners like that, especially with how fast some people drive around here. This looks like kind of a bigger official spot. Lots of parking for big trucks and whatnot. So this must be the jam. This must be what the overlook of overlooks. And there's actually an interpretive sign here that's going to give us some info finally, since your host has been so busy, he's behind in his knowledge today, we'll say. Well, since the audio got lost, let me fill you in on what you're looking at. The rivers down below are the middle and south forks of the Kings River. During the early Jurassic period, this was a shallow sea harboring animals and plants under the water. But throughout time, volcanic activity pushed up the old seafloor, creating granite domes and marble. The river did what rivers do best, eroding and carving through that rock to create the canyon walls as well as some caves. But more on that later. What do we have here? Kings Canyon Lodge. There's gas, so that's good to know that. There are campsites here. I don't think that's a National Forest Service campground. I don't know. Is that private, or I don't know who runs that one. Maybe it is the National Park Service. I didn't pay attention to see if we've re-entered the park. I don't think we have. I've seen knowledgeable people fly their drone over like some of these rivers here when we get down there, and that's one thing I was kind of wanting to do, but I don't know where that point is yet, and I'll have to double check my maps and make sure we're street legal to do so. But it was at this point where I finally relaxed, left work mode, and succumbed to the beauty around me. I'm just gonna keep everything rolling because everything's a surprise around every corner. Like these views, it's just very interesting too with that haze. Wow, this is crazy. We're not done yet by a long shot. If you relax your eyes, the lighting almost makes the scene before you appear as a painting with layers and varying shades. Some real Bob Ross stuff right there. As we descended more, the river and a waterfall began to reveal themselves. Each stop provided just a slightly different view as anticipation of reaching the river grew. Finally, we reached the bottom where I could get my drone in the air and achieve those river views I had a goal to get, up close and personal. Remember earlier when I mentioned caves? Well, here at the bottom is Boyden Cavern. Open spring to late fall, the cavern offers roughly an hour tour of beautiful formations beneath the marble cliffs outside. Unfortunately, we didn't have time on this day to take the tour, but we always love a reason to come back.
In the meantime, we stopped to take in more views of the rushing water of the South Fork of the Kings River.
All right, we want to make sure we have it in reverse, not drive right there. That would be bad. I think they're about to open the cave right now, and that's why everybody just showed up. I bet you the first tour's like at 9:30 or 10 or something, so, oh well. If I just happen to magically have a couple hours open in the next day or two, which I do not, I might come back. Darn it. Caves are cool, man. Like in more ways than one. Nature's refrigerator. Oh, look at the trail. I assume that's the trail you have to walk up to get to the cave. We're gonna look at it head on here. Or is that the trail you descend to get out of the cave? I bet you that's how you have to get in. I didn't read anything about that. So you might want to make note of that or research that for yourself in case. I mean, I can do it, but that would be a workout. Wow, you guys, yeah, you should be able to see some of that. That is, like, I don't see how you could whitewater raft with some of that. If the river's raging like that, hopefully that's an indicator that the waterfalls are doing well too and healthy. I can't, from my vantage point, unless I really duck down, I can't even see the top of the mountains, and I don't know if the GoPro is wide enough of an angle to even do that either, because we are deep, 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 deep. And just as pleasant drives go, I love this. You got a little bit of shade, and the curvature has been, you know, like I said, remarkably well engineered and smooth. Or maybe the river was well engineered and smooth, and the fact that the road follows it is just coincidental that the road is smooth because the river already curved nice. So yeah, I've seen multiple signs now saying do not, people die in this river, the South Fork of the Kings River. It's cold. I think it's the cold that's really one huge hazard. And then the other hazard obviously is it's like a giant agitating washing machine. I just saw a sign for Grizzly Falls picnic area, and Grizzly Falls is also one of the falls where there's probably a trailhead here, and there's nobody, not a single person here. Are you kidding me? Not one? The waterfall's right there, and it's huge for what I thought it was gonna be. I mean, it's not huge, but it's plumper than the other one. All right, it's moderate.
Okay, if you're trying to figure out what stops to make this one. It's close to the visitor center and just a quick hike from the parking lot, so it's very easy to get to. The stunning 80-foot falls flows best in spring after the snow begins to melt. With that, we continued along and officially entered Kings Canyon National Park.
Okay. We now continue deeper into the Kings Canyon. Like now I really feel like we're in Kings Canyon, even though we were in Kings Canyon. I guess I think about the up there as the Sequoia spot, way up high, and this is probably just the river, the deep cut views, a different experience, I suspect. I don't think they would have Sequoia down here, but what do I know? think Sequoia like it really high up, don't they? I feel like we've already given this a thorough scouring, this whole thing down here. And I feel like I know where we're at in terms of the overall drive, so I feel like we're well over halfway done on our journey. But, and here's the South Fork of the Kings River. Surprise, surprise. Much more calm over here. What I feared would be true is proving to be true, but it's okay because I shouldn't say I feared, I kind of expected it, which is I passed the first of the campgrounds, the national park campgrounds down here that the national park website said are not quite open yet for the season. And as they typically do, they have gates where it says road closed and you can't drive in. So I'm not going to be able to do my camp view thing down here with the 3 campgrounds I had mapped out. At least the first one. There's another one. It's completely empty. And this would be, which one is that one? That is Cedar Grove Village. Oh, that's a visitor center down there. Road's End, which is where we're heading to, but I'm gonna take a quick diversion here. That might actually be that's probably part of the campground I wanted to enter down that ways, and it's just that big. There's some gigantor campgrounds down here. So Sentinel Campground, there we go. Let's just see, I'll show you. It's understandable. I mean, I know why they'd want to put a gate there. What I don't understand is, yeah, so here's that's the bane of my existence on these trips. You would think that close to July, this would be open. So I'm curious why it's not open, to be honest with you, even if it's not at full capacity. Like, what the heck? Like, how much does it actually freaking cost to operate a campground? You probably just need a ranger or two to drive around, and you hire campground hosts, right? So open the damn thing. I want to camp down here. And there's a visitor center too, but I'm probably gonna just head to the Road's End, because what I want to really do is come back here and camp for multiple days down here and really thoroughly explore it. So more reasons to come back. So anyway, 2 campgrounds not open. There is only one little bright silver lining to that I'll share with you. All the time that I had allotted to do that, and especially the really big campground, I think it's called Moraine Campground. There's another one there are some that are just straight up closed for the whole year. But crossing the river again. I was gonna say we're not at the Road's End yet, are we? That just looks like there's showers. But, so you know, the showers don't work. They're not open. Currently, the only place to get a shower between Kings Canyon and Sequoia is at Lodgepole Campground, or Lodgepole Lodge, in Sequoia National Park, which for those of us staying in Kings Canyon, even on the top, it sucks. But wow, would it suck if you were camping down here and you had to drive all the way to Sequoia. I mean, you know, it's just I think they just need to think about that. Starting to roll again. I kind of refrained for a while because we're so deep in the pine forest and stuff, you really can't see too much. I mean, it's beautiful, don't get me wrong, but now we're really starting to see. I've been wondering, okay, where's this Yosemite like that whoever said? There's a cabin back there, Krupp's Cabin. Huh, that sounds kind of cool. I didn't know about any cabin. I might hit that back when we head out. Mental note, because the river's right there, so it can't be that far. Wow, I kind of am doing this again, looking up, and end. Is that a waterfall coming down that side, or? Aha! Now I think I'm seeing it. This definitely, like just these really steep, vertical granite, like gray granite cliffs, reminiscent of Yosemite. That is now starting to look more like whoever said that. I can start to agree a little bit. It's absolutely beautiful. It's just hard to see it all from my vantage point. Maybe you have a better view, but look at that. It's just now it's popping. And this is the roaring river. And it is roaring too. What do we got here? That's an unnamed spot. There's no sign that said what that was, but we're just kind of making a beeline to the end of the road when I know there's some meadows and views, so there's more we're exploring. It's not like we're done. I know a couple things I want to see, but expectations are starting to become exceeded very quickly out here. Wow. It just kind of popped out and surprised me. It's like, surprise! Here pretty soon we'll survey it on foot so I can assist with the looking up that we need. Oh my gosh, look at that. More very Yosemite looking scenery. Or just Sierra looking scenery is maybe a better way, as I've explored more and more and learned more and more. The sun's glistening in this forest too. It's beautiful. Off of the trees and the... Wow. Oh my gosh. Views out my side window. That cliff is something too, but I reckon we're gonna get full-on views of all this, so don't worry if you're chomping at the bit for it. I think it's coming soon. I feel it. And we'll see like a wall in the background. You know, I think it just dead ends almost. You see that right in front? I bet you the camera can't get all of that. I can't even see it all. What is this here? This is a meadow. This is one of the ones I want to go to, the Zumwalt Meadow. This is one of my top choices for today. I like a good meadow. I don't know why. Here's where everybody else seems to go too. Might have to walk a little bit though, I don't know. Heaven forbid that. We'll see what this is all about. Oh, Slim, calm down. No temper tantrums, we talked about that. As the National Parks website states, Zumwalt Meadows is one of the park's most iconic meadows. With Kings River running through the 0.8-mile loop trail, there's no shortage of greenery as you walk through the trees and along the river. Unfortunately, the loop trail was cut off at one point from flooding due to winter storms in 2019, which washed out the boardwalk section through the meadow. So for now, it is just an out and back, but make no mistake, the views between these tall granite cliffs is absolutely worth it. And just like they say about canyons, it gets warmer at the bottom. That was the Zumwalt Meadow. I feel like I was a little gypped there, but we did hike a lot. Oh my god, I'm sweaty. I need to keep my hat off or else I'm gonna start having a huge sweat stain on that hat. I need to turn the AC on for a second, which usually I keep the noise down, but I don't care. Oh, bobo. I think we're, I imagine we're not too far from the road's end, and that's the goal. In fact, I thought of titling or having Amy title this episode something like that. Kings Canyon to the road's end. I'm sure a lot of people have done that already, though. There's the river out there that, has been ever present really in here. It's absolutely spectacular, and I wasn't prepared for how tight this canyon actually is. That's why I was having difficulties with photography today. It's, you know, a lot more narrow for things on this scale. So what do we got here? Oh, we're at the road's end. See, I knew it was like right there. I feel like this has been, I don't know, I always wonder how the videos come out, but this one I have a good feeling of, other than it might be a little long. We're just gonna swing around. I'm gonna find a place to park. There is an activity here that I really want to do, by the way, and that's probably why people are parked here, which is a hike. But I think it's like a 7-miler, which I would be capable. I've seen and studied on it, and you go up and you get a really good view looking back into the canyon, and maybe one of the best views of all. So I would say that to me would be the cherry on the top, but it's already almost noon and I gotta drive back out of here, and I vastly underestimated the length of time it would take me to make this episode, and what took me long was just wanting to really stop and gawk at it the whole way, and I don't regret it, but what a day. But you know what, actually maybe I do have one. Remember there's that Krupp's cabin that we drove by, and that seems Cactus Atlasy, the sound of it does. So maybe that's where we're gonna end things. So we're gonna start heading back. It's not that far. Catch you some views, maybe looking back out this way anyway, and you could see there Grant Grove is approximately where I'm going. I would say for all intents and purposes that's fine, 37 miles. But it doesn't take 37 minutes. You've seen why now, but it'll take less because I won't be stopping every 2 minutes. There's actually one more waterfall that I didn't see the sign, or I didn't really commit it to memory well enough to know or bother to stop, but regardless, I feel like this episode, based on how long I've been filming, has got way more material than Amy's gonna be able to handle. So sorry, Amy. The videos are starting to take way longer because it's just I'm out on the road more, and I just roll and roll and roll, and it's more of a brute force tactic than talent, I would say. Record enough stuff and she'll find something to piece together. Alright, we made it back to that cabin, and it's Knapp's cabin, a cabin that dates back to 1925 and only used for a few years. The one-room 10 by 20 foot cabin was built by the founder of Union Carbine, George O. Knapp, by locally available materials. A frequent visitor to the area, Knapp constructed the building for storing equipment during his camping and fishing trips. After Kings Canyon National Park was created in 1940, the Park Service took the duties of maintaining it. It was entered into the National Register of Historic Places in 1978. Only a new shake roof had been added by the National Park Service, but otherwise, all original. Well, there you have it, our first visit to Kings Canyon National Park. I hope you enjoyed this slightly different format. We couldn't let this one go unseen. In the meantime, like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you next week. Thanks for watching.